Well, I'm here with Mark Blanchard at his little studio. Not really a studio, it's a shop. It's a wood shop. It's a guitar builder shop. We're here in Los Gatos, and I've known Mark for about 10 years, at least, I think, probably so. We met around the turn of the century, I think.
Yeah, a long time ago.
When we were selling his guitars at a store I was involved with. And we were just thrilled to get these beautiful handmade guitars from builders, particularly some local builders. So Mark was based here in Los Gatos. And, well, not really. At that point, you'd already moved, huh? But you came back here a lot.
I was in Mammoth Lakes at the time.
Yeah. So that was, but Mom lived here, so he was here a lot.
I came back often.
Yeah. So tell me, how long have you been building guitars?
I started doing repair and restoration work in the early 80s, about 1981.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like at a shop or something?
No,
or
I was living with people who had guitars and played guitar.
Okay.
And I've always been a fix-it guy.
Okay, so
and
now you came in with
it
broken
didn't take
guitars?
It didn't take me long to realize that their guitars were not in very good shape.
Ah. Yeah.
So I got some books and I started studying guitar repair.
And they trusted you with this stuff? With with their babies?
They'd seen other woodwork I'd done and stuff.
Oh,
so
okay.
they knew I knew how to use tools.
Yeah.
And they just let me work on their guitars.
Wow.
And I started with that.
Yeah.
And that led into some restoration work. I restored an old bull-back mandolin way back.
So the word of mouth just kind of spread?
Word of mouth
They and their friends pretty much said, hey, if you need something done, track Mark down.
Yeah. And it wasn't long before I got interested in building guitars.
Which is a lot more detailed than
well,
repairs.
It's different.
It's a whole different job.
Yeah, it's like remodeling compared to new construction.
Yeah.
In some ways it's easier.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's more designing you have to do and less problem solving.
Yeah.
But I started building my first guitar way back then in about 1981.
Okay.
And
you must have been like 5. Not possible. Well, okay.
No, I was about 20
okay.
at the time, maybe.
Yeah.
And started on that and getting my jigs together and all that stuff and learning about wood and putting it together.
Yeah.
I moved away from there. I was going to school at the time. I moved away and got into other things. And about 14 years later, I finished that guitar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it took a long time, that first one.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, how long have you been a guitar builder, I'm never quite sure what to say.
From the day I
started counting when I finished it or when I started it. So
okay.
Anyway.
Did you finish another one in between?
No.
So that was it. So your first one was 14 years from day one to
finished it in
out the door.
1994.
Wow.
Yeah. And
where is it?
It's currently in Montana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're still in touch with the person that has it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And that's the person that got it in 1994, or has it been through a few hands?
No, it's
okay.
Original.
So guitar number 1 is still on
gift.
owner number 1.
It was a gift,
sweet.
And she still has it.
Okay. Wow. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So about that time, I decided I wanted to build guitars.
Yeah.
And I phased out of doing repair work, which I'd been doing all those years.
Where were you living then? Were you still
Mammoth Lakes?
So you'd already moved to Mammoth.
Santa Cruz, and then I moved to Mammoth.
Okay. Yeah.
Got into the guitar building thing, and in 1998 became a full-time guitar builder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like almost making a living doing it. It's kind of like being a guitar teacher.
Yeah.
Well, I teach guitar.
Define living.
Yeah. Not like a sports. You weren't buying your parents' a house or anything.
No, nothing like that.
Yeah, you were hoping to pay your rent.
I was buying wood to build the next guitar.
Yeah. So making a living as a guitar builder is a different kind of making a living.
Yeah, it's not about making a living. It's about living on what you make.
There you go. Good point. Yeah.
You have to change your mindset.
You know what? And obviously loving what you're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I still do.
Yeah, because that's how I feel about teaching. It's one of those things that if I could afford to do it free, I would.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd be in here the next day building another guitar.
Yeah. That's really neat. So. Yeah. Well, we hope to get you involved doing some things on the site. Letting people know, talking about some repairs and other just everyday maintenance, the guitar players, because we get questions all the time. It's like, oh man, why is my guitar so hard to play? Why am I getting so tired all of a sudden? I used to be able to play for hours, and now is it possible their guitar has changed?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're wood, they breathe.
Yeah,
and there are lots of simple little things that can be done to a guitar to make it easier to play. A lot of times they're out of adjustment, and if a player's aware of the various adjustments that can be made, then they'll know when it's out of whack, and they can either fix it themselves or have it done.
Yeah. So what are the main adjustments that need to be done, either on a a yearly basis or seasonal basis, or
playability, string height is a big one.
Okay.
The neck can change shape, and the strings can get to be too high off the fingerboard, makes them really hard to play.
Yeah.
The nut in the saddle can wear out just from the strings running over them. Tuning drags the string back and forth all the time. The grooves get too deep, the strings start to buzz on the frets.
Yeah.
Frets wear and get grooves in them.
That's happened. I've had to replace those. Yeah.
That can cause buzzing. It can make it really hard to bend notes because you got to push the string
out of
up out of the ditch.
Yeah.
And it makes funny noises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the height of the strings is what you would refer to as the action of the guitar, and that really has to be set up really properly for you to feel like it's easy to play.
Yes.
And it's going to get too high if the neck has changed a little bit, or if the body has changed, or anything like that, right?
Correct. Yes.
And
changes in humidity will affect the action quite a bit.
Yeah. So the wood bends essentially.
Yeah.
And then with the nut and saddle, those are more going to get worn and either need to be replaced or smoothed or sanded and or raised even somehow.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of little adjustments to get the guitar in really, really good shape. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a whole series of adjustments, and when you're setting up, we call that a setup.
Right.
Is adjusting all that stuff. When you're doing that, you start with one thing and you work your way through.
Yeah.
You have to do it in the right order, or you chase your tail around.
Yeah, so every once in a while when I was just teaching at a store, somebody came in with some cheap guitar and the action was too high, so I just take the saddle out and grind it down a little bit and put it back on and say, "Is that better?" And they say, "Yeah, fine, okay." Yeah. Can I pay you? No, because I don't know what I'm doing. Please, But if it feels better, just go away and don't bother me again.
Yeah. What a lot of people will do is when the strings get high, is they'll tighten the truss rod and straighten the neck out, and that brings the strings down.
Yeah.
But if you do that too much, then the strings start to buzz,
right,
especially down by the nut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So you have to get the neck curvature right, and then do the saddle, then do the nut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Make sure your frets are level.
Yeah.
That's another important thing.
Probably the best piece of advice may be to find a competent repair guy around you when you need work done on your guitar, huh? If I ask you.
Yeah. And I think what we can do for people on Totally Guitars is make them more aware of their guitar and more aware of when it is out of adjustment.
Yeah.
And when it needs to be adjusted and taken to a tech.
Yeah. Good. So maybe we'll get some short videos of you demonstrating a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the kind of things to look for. If you think you're having trouble, here's a little test. Mm-hmm. If you think you're having trouble, you probably are. It's probably that simple.
If it feels hard to play, it probably is.
Yeah.
You might need an adjustment.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm really excited about getting you involved in the site and stuff, because I think I know that people are just really looking for all kinds of information, and that's what we're really trying to branch out into all kinds of information. That's our that's our goal. So
I know lots of stuff about guitar repair and guitar building.
Yeah,
it'll be fun to contribute.
That is really cool. So we'll have more from Mark probably really soon. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to do this, and it was a joy to visit your little shop here.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.